Right now at 6, a fatal motorcycle crash on Peace Church Road claims the life of a 44-year-old man.
And we have an alert day today for severe thunderstorms that are likely as we roll through the afternoon, evening, and overnight hours. Break it all down for you coming up.
Plus, northwest Arkansas is hit with a major hailstorm that's caused damage to many cars and electric poles.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News at 6 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Monday. It is May the 19th. We have an alert day in place for the potential, not just for severe weather, but for significant severe weather as a possibility rolling into the afternoon. Let's dive right in. First with that look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Now we did have some thunderstorms early this morning. Those are long gone now, and that's left us with mostly clear to partly cloudy skies, as you can see from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. MoDOT camera 20th and range line in Joplin. Every so often you'll see it swaying back and forth because we also have gusty winds across the region, and these will continue through our Tuesday as well. It's going to be a bit on the breezy side outside of the thunderstorm threat. So here's what we are looking at now. Again, if you're just joining us maybe here this morning at 6, you probably noticed that the severe weather maps look different from yesterday. They updated at 1 o'clock this morning and unfortunately added or increased rather the severe threat, especially in the categories of the tornado category and the hail category, bringing in a level 4 out of 5 risk in both of those for the southern portions of our area. So we're talking parts of southeast Kansas, all of northeast Oklahoma. This does include Joplin, southern Jasper County, all of Newton and McDonald County, Benton County, and parts of Berry County for both of those threats. We also have those hatch marks, which indicates the potential for significant severe weather in that category. So in the hail case, we're talking about the possibility of hail up to tennis ball size, but these hatch marks, we've got the level 4 out of 5 here, but the hatch marks are across the entire region. Same with the tornado risk. That indicates the possibility of a strong tornado that would be EF2 or greater. Now, one thing to emphasize about these risk categories, this is not a guarantee that that is exactly what we're going to see. These risk categories are indicating that the environment here will be favorable for the severe thunderstorms that develop later today to produce these situations and these issues, these risks. It's not a guarantee it's exactly what we'll see, but this is indicating that that chance is pretty high. It's a level 4 out of 5 again in some cases that these storms will be able to reach that strength. On top of that, the wind risk, a level 3 out of 5. So we're talking 70, 80 mile an hour winds out there. So here's what we're looking at. We have another if, and I want to emphasize this one. This is a big one. By about 9, 10 o'clock this morning, there's been a lot of disagreement since 24 hours ago. I was looking at the model data as well. We could see some isolated to widely scattered showers and storms in southeast Kansas by mid-morning. If they develop, they could intensify pretty quickly, but it is a big if they develop. Outside of that chance, once we roll into the afternoon, storms begin developing very quickly. They become severe very quickly, producing, again, all hazards possible. Unfortunately, they really start to ramp up, especially in the Kansas and Oklahoma, as kids are going to be getting off the bus. So make sure you're paying attention to that as well. I know the school districts will be paying close attention to this, and I also know some districts, if we get any kind of tornado watches or anything by, say, early afternoon before school lets out, there's going to be that chance that schools might dismiss a little early today in some locations. So parents also make sure you're aware of that. Right now, though, 65, both Joplin and Pittsburgh. Got a fairly mild start. We're getting those southerly winds back in, increasing our humidity and dew point levels, bringing in that energy for these storms, keeping us also, most of us, into the mid to upper 60s this morning. So again, we just want to watch all of this as we roll into the afternoon, especially with kids getting off the bus around 3 when these thunderstorms are really going to be reaching their peak. Highs today eventually right about 80, and those thunderstorm chances increasing rather rapidly and intensifying rapidly as we head through the afternoon, evening, and overnight. Could have a few lingering strong, potentially severe storms by this time tomorrow morning. We'll talk about that and what happens following these storms here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Well, storms made their way in the area yesterday afternoon. At around 4:20 p.m., cities in northwest Arkansas were hit with a major hailstorm. This video is from Tonytown, Arkansas, and shows how intense the hail fell from the sky. Now, there are reports of hail damage to cars and electric poles, causing thousands of residents to lose power. One report shows a pile of hail that was measured at 17 inches. And don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. The KOAM Skywatch weather app. A man is dead after a single vehicle crash in Newton County. Early Saturday morning, reports of a single vehicle crash near Granby, Missouri alerted 911. A Jeep Cherokee was traveling east on US 60 and left the road to the right. The SUV overturned numerous times, ejecting the driver. The Jeep continued overturning and crashed up over the top of a car parked at a residence, then landed above a above-ground pool. The driver, was a 28-year-old male from Diamond, Missouri, was pronounced deceased on the scene. Next of kin have been notified. Well, early yesterday morning, reports of a serious motorcycle crash along Peace Church Road north of Turkey Creek alerted 911. A northbound Harley-Davidson had gone off the road, striking some trees. The male operator, Brett Hill, 44, of Oronogo, was pronounced deceased. The next of kin have been notified. So far in 2025, Troop D of the Missouri State Highway Patrol has recorded 41 fatalities. This time last year, that number was 38. Well, charges are brought against a McDonald County teacher for inappropriate relations with a student. The McDonald County Sheriff's Office was made aware that McDonald County High School teacher Joelle Stark of Anderson, Missouri, allegedly had an ongoing sexual relationship with a past student from 2016 to 2018. The prosecutor filed second-degree statutory rape charges against Stark on Friday, and later a warrant for her arrest was issued. Stark turned herself in on Saturday. She later bonded out. Well, the McDonald County R1 School District released the following statement saying, quote, "Upon receiving this information, the district immediately placed the teacher on administrative leave following standard policy and procedure." The district says they are cooperating with law enforcement throughout the investigation. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, former President Joe Biden reveals his prostate cancer diagnosis that has now spread to his bones. And we're tracking thunderstorms. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from Library Park in Neodesha, Kansas. Topping Nation Watch this morning, the Social Security Administration is dropping a controversial anti-fraud policy that sparked widespread concerns among senior citizens. According to an email sent to workers, the agency will no longer hold retirement benefit applications for 3 days to check for fraud. The decision comes as the backlog in retirement benefit claims has swelled to nearly 575,000 applicants. Originally, the agency wanted to bar applicants from filing for benefits over the phone, saying it would be hard to verify their identity. Instead, they would have to do it online or visit a field office. Now, that policy was revised weeks later and said applicants would have to go to a field office if irregularities were detected during a fraud review. Breaking over the weekend, former President Joe Biden has revealed that he was diagnosed with prostate cancer on Friday. In a statement, the Biden family says the cancer, quote, appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. Naomi Ruckham has more from New York on the 82-year-old former president's diagnosis and the reaction.
Former President Joe Biden and his family say they're reviewing treatment options after he was diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has spread to his bones. In a statement, the Biden family says the diagnosis came after doctors found a nodule on his prostate when he was seen for increased urinary symptoms.
There's been tremendous progress in the treatment of prostate cancer over the last decade and a half.
Cancer doctors say there are effective treatments despite the 82-year-old former president's advanced age.
Patients, even who are diagnosed with more aggressive, more advanced stage disease, can live many years and have good quality of life.
President Donald Trump reacted on social media saying, "Melania and I are saddened to hear about Joe Biden's recent medical diagnosis. We wish Joe a fast and successful recovery." Former President Barack Obama adding in a statement, "Nobody has done more to find breakthrough treatments for cancer in all its forms than Joe, and I'm certain he will fight this challenge with his trademark resolve and grace." Mr. Obama was referring to Mr. Biden's Cancer Moonshot Initiative, aimed at better research, prevention, and care.
Let's end cancer as we know it. Cure some cancers once and for all.
The initiative was inspired by his late son Beau Biden's battle with brain cancer. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Former Vice President Kamala Harris also reacted to former President Biden's diagnosis on social media, saying, "Joe is a fighter, and I know he will face this challenge with the same strength, resilience, and optimism that have always defined his life and leadership." The former president's announcement comes as a new book detailing concerns over his health towards the end of his time in office is set to be released tomorrow. Well, still to come, a new study reveals alarming levels of harmful synthetic chemicals in packaged food. Plus, Chris returns with another look at your Monday forecast. A 14-year-old boy from Chicago is making his city proud. He graduated from college on Friday night, and John Garcia spoke with the young graduate about his rare accomplishment.
It was about the smallest size they could find, but then there's not normally much need for a college cap and gown for a 14-year-old. He's still a couple of years away from being able to get a driver's license, but Benjamin Bembarak plans to walk across the Lewis University stage tonight to receive a double degree in math and computer science.
I'm very glad because that means I get done with all of the studying and all the degrees earlier. So that means I can save time for other things later when I'm older.
He was studying calculus at 5 years old. The public school told his parents he'd be wasting his time in grade school, so he was homeschooled, where he tested out of high school and junior college by the time he was 10. His father started college in the former Yugoslavia, but never finished.
I did not teach him. He did it himself. I did not teach him that.
Bembarak is the youngest graduate in Lewis University history. At an age when most kids are in middle school, he was taking advanced college courses with much older students. It was a challenge for him and for his professors.
We had to make sure that it's an inclusive environment for him.
He finished with a 3.9 grade point average, living at home rather than on campus. But Bembarak is already taking classes for his master's degree, which he expects to receive next year at this time. After that, he says he wants to start a career, possibly doing research in artificial intelligence.
I hope it's Sunday.
He says he's not much into social media or sports.
Are you interested in girls at this point?
Not at this point. Maybe later.
Well, Benjamin said now that he is a graduate, he wants some time to relax. The family is planning a vacation this summer. Now let's head over to Chris for a quick look at the forecast.
We've got what looks like a very nice sunrise out there this morning after a few morning thunderstorms cleared on out. However, our severe threat begins to ramp up pretty quickly as we roll into the afternoon. We'll have another full look at your forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's just now 6:21 on this Monday morning. Got a lot to talk about with our alert day in place today and the threat for severe weather, potentially significant severe weather as we roll into the afternoon. So here's a look at our severe threats for today. The big change from overnight, from last night into this morning, is the addition of a level 4 out of 5 risk on our tornado category and on the hail category for parts of the area. That includes, these two are both shaped the same. They include the southern portions of southeast Kansas, all of northeast Oklahoma, into Benton County, all of Newton, McDonald County, parts of Berry County, and the southern portions of Jasper County, which does include the Joplin area as well. So here's what we're looking at. We're going to break down these two threats first because they're the most significant. We'll talk about the wind risk as well. We also have the hatch marks across the entire region under the tornado and hail category. So what that means is that the atmosphere with these storms this afternoon will be prime for supporting significant severe weather from these thunderstorms that we see develop. So that does mean the potential for tennis ball size hail across the area, with that higher risk, the greater risk in that level 4 out of 5 zone. And on the tornado risk, again, the hatch marks indicating the possibility of a strong tornado. So that'd be EF2 or greater, with a higher chance in the level 4 out of 5. Now, one thing I do want to emphasize on these, this is not saying that is exactly what's going to happen. It is explaining, though, it is showing us that with the storms that develop and the fuel and energy that will be available for them, they will easily have the potential to produce these threats. It's not a guarantee that they will be that intense, but this is saying that they do have a pretty good chance of that. So you've got to stay weather aware today. Make sure you've got the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Make sure you're paying attention. Make sure you have a plan ready to go if any kind of warning is issued for your area by this afternoon. The wind category is a little lower. It's a level 3 out of 5, but it's still up there. So we're talking 70 to 80 mile an hour wind gusts possible. Let's break down what we're talking about in terms of timing. And this is where it gets a little more tricky, at least this morning. Some of the data, and this was even 24 hours ago, looking at this stuff yesterday morning, is suggesting that by about 9, 10 o'clock, we could get some isolated to widely scattered showers and storms, primarily into southeast Kansas. This is a very big if. This is a very conditional risk here. These may not materialize. If they do, a couple of things will happen. One, they could intensify and become strong to severe pretty quickly. 2, they could help eat some of the energy across our area, and while we'll still see severe storms later, the threats may be a bit lower. Now, if those storms don't materialize, then what we're looking at is as we roll into the afternoon by about, say, 2, 3 o'clock, we get lines of supercells, very intense thunderstorms rolling into the area. Now, of course, this also is going to be coming about the time kids are getting off the bus. So I know school districts will be monitoring this situation closely. And I know in some cases, some school districts in our area do release early for severe weather days, so parents be aware of that possibility as well. Severe thunderstorm chances, they increase again once we get past noon. They will stick with us through the evening and overnight. Now we've got this batch, round 1 essentially, if we don't see these mid-morning storms. Widespread strong to severe thunderstorms across the region. Then right behind that comes another round of strong to severe thunderstorms, all hazards still possible, but you see how quickly that rolls east. As it does so, it may develop into a line, and if that happens late tonight, then the wind risk goes up a little bit with that line of storms, but all hazards will still be possible. Then, after it rolls through, say between about 11 p.m. tonight and 1 a.m., 2 a.m. tomorrow, we pause for a moment before we see additional thunderstorm development through the early morning hours on our Tuesday. Some of these storms could be strong, possibly severe as well, as they roll through the area. And by about 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, they're done. As we roll into Tuesday afternoon, skies begin to clear out. We'll have a gusty west wind pushing about 25 to 30 miles an hour, and temperatures a little cooler, but we'll dry out and have an opportunity to take a break from some of these storm chances. So a lot to keep an eye on. Additionally, we have flood watches for the eastern half of our area through tomorrow morning as well. So remember, turn around, don't drown. If you know your route takes you through a flood-prone area, you folks at home know this drill. Make sure you've got a backup route plan. Should stay dry. In fact, take a look. We're looking pretty good this morning after our early morning storms. Low 70s to start, maybe some isolated storms late morning out there. Upper 70s by 11 o'clock. Our thunderstorm chances, of course, increase significantly and rapidly rolling into the afternoon. Highs at about 80. Again, a few more storms in the morning. And then we'll start to wrap up with those storms, low to mid 70s, cool through Wednesday and Thursday as well, maybe even some upper 60s in there. And then the warm weather returns, rolling through the weekend into next week with a few more storm chances next Sunday and Monday. Let's check your forecast. We're going to send it to Elise now with Health Watch.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, synthetic chemicals in our food are becoming a growing health risk. A study by the Food Packaging Forum Foundation showed the highest levels of harmful synthetic chemicals are found in ultra-processed and packaged foods. Transportation, food processing, packaging, and food prep are the key times when those chemicals are able to access food. The study's authors say there needs to be tougher regulations on these chemicals in addition to safer food packaging. Well, there is growing evidence that Alzheimer's disease affects the whole body, not just the brain. A study on fruit flies by Baylor College of Medicine showed the disease can impact someone's sense of smell and even their metabolism and digestion. The findings could help lead the new treatments for Alzheimer's. And older women can benefit from eating more high-quality carbs and fiber. A study by Tufts University showed that for women over the age of 70, healthy aging can be boosted by eating more whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and legumes. Carbs from added sugars and refined grains led to lower odds of healthy aging. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, the 5th annual Shed Farm Homestead Festival offered a journey back to the 1800s.
And we have an alert day today. Strong to severe thunderstorms likely as we roll into the afternoon. Details coming up.
Plus, a Pitt State student graduates with 2 degrees after a journey of self-discovery supported by a close-knit community.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's Monday. It's May the 19th, and we have an alert day for the potential for severe weather rolling into this afternoon. Some of that severe weather could potentially be significant as well. So we're going to dive right in. First with that look outside downtown Pittsburgh. And this is actually kind of important. See, it's a little hazy out there. Just a couple of clouds. We had thunderstorms early this morning. They're gone. We are clearing out. We've got strong southerly winds that are beginning to bring in more energy for these storms as we head into the afternoon, which is why, unfortunately, our severe risk has actually increased since yesterday evening with the 1 a.m. update for our severe weather outlook, which we're going to show you right now. Now, this will update. It's scheduled to update again at 8 a.m. That's always an approximate time, as if there's confidence that's high in severe weather, they can update it early. If they're needing to make some big adjustments or the severe threat decreases or increases, it could be delayed. But here's where it stands right now. They have added a level 4 out of 5 tornado risk and hail risk that stretches into our area. Now, the bulk of this risk goes down into eastern Oklahoma, but we are on the northeastern edges of it. That does include all of our counties in northeast Oklahoma. That's stretching Newton, McDonald, Benton counties, parts of Berry County, Jasper, and our southern counties here in southeast Kansas. Now, both of these on the hail and tornado risk, they're the same shape, same size, same coverage area. So that's just that level 4 out of 5 risk there. The rest of this are in that 3 out of 5 risk for hail and tornadoes and for wind. The other concern we have are these hatch marks. We've talked about them before. They indicate the potential for significant severe in that category. In this case, for hail, it means the potential for these storms to drop upwards of tennis ball size hail. Hatch marks here also, unfortunately, indicate the possibility of a strong tornado. So we're talking EF2 or greater. Now, something, again, if you're just joining us, haven't been with us this morning, the thing we want to emphasize, especially on both of these, this is not a guarantee that that's what will happen in our area. This is saying that the storms and the available energy, they could reach this level. It is a possibility that these storms could produce this. And in that level 4 out of 5 risk, that just indicates that the chances are slightly higher in these zones for either of these two categories. The rest of us, again, in the wind risk, that's a level 3 out of 5, and we're talking 70 to 80 mile an hour winds. The other if we have is this that's showing up. Some of the model data shows that some of it doesn't. We could get an isolated shower storm by mid-morning, primarily into southeast Kansas. If we get those, they could intensify and become strong to severe fairly quickly. That could also play a good role in our thunderstorm chances later by eating up some of the energy, which would reduce our severe chances later. It wouldn't take them away, unfortunately, but it could reduce them later. But these storms, this is a big if, and there may not be enough of them to really eat any of the energy out there. What is likely, once we get past noon, we start to see rapid thunderstorm development, supercell development as well, and these storms will become severe very quickly. It will not take them very long to intensify. The other concern is they'll be developing around the time kids are getting off the bus this afternoon, which is something else we've got to watch closely. And they will continue with potentially multiple rounds through the evening and overnight hours across the region, so we've got to keep a close eye on it. Here's those winds bringing in warm, moist air once again to the area. Most of us us into the mid 60s with some upper 60s out there as well. And so that's going to also bring in that energy for these storms. Mid 70s by 9, upper 70s by noon, highs eventually about 80. Thunderstorm chances increasing rapidly as we roll into the afternoon. We're going to have another look at your forecast, break down these storm chances for you, and talk about what happens once they're gone here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, Pittsburgh State University continued graduation ceremony Saturday at John Lance Arena. KOAM's Mitch Adams has more.
The work done by Pitt State students this semester has finally paid off. Addie Hinterweger graduated with not 1, but 2 degrees.
My journey's been incredible here. I came in as a freshman. I was, like Susan said, I was pretty scared and not sure what my path looked like exactly, but through my friends and mentors and professors, I kind of found my way.
Hinterweger said her college journey wasn't just about her education. It was also about finding herself along the way.
I used to kind of say no to things. I'd be afraid to take chances and risks, and through my journey here, my professors and other mentors have really encouraged me to say yes to things and, you know, push my creativity and go beyond my comfort zone.
Being in Pittsburgh helped her find a sense of community and support as well.
The community and the college are so interconnected, and they're supportive of each other. You don't have a community like that in many other college towns in this area or even in the nation.
In Pittsburgh, Kansas, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
Classes will resume for Pittsburgh State's fall semester on August 18th of this year. The 5th annual Shed Farm Homestead Festival took place on Saturday. For those looking to understand what it was like to live in the 1800s or even how to live sustainably now, the festival provides educational programs alongside all the fun activities. People had the opportunity to learn how to milk cows, weave on a loom, and learn about greenhouse production.
We hope that everyone will realize that the sustainable lifestyle, gardening, animal care, is part of what our history of this country was for years and years. And we hope that we're encouraging people to get back to that kind of lifestyle.
The price of admission for Saturday was $5. Well, as school comes to a close and the summer begins, many organizations are trying to kick off summer in the right way. Precious Moments in Carthage is doing just that with their summer kickoff event. There was a little bit of something for everyone, including face painting, figurine signing, and life sculpture demonstrations.
We're here. We're still going strong, carrying on Mr. Butcher's legacy here of his mission to have a beautiful place here in our community, as well as his last figurine that was just released, Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus, and keeping that message out in our community.
Now, those who attended also had the opportunity to have their picture taken with Timmy the Angel. And the Goodyear blimp known as Wingfoot 3 arrived late Friday night to the Joplin Regional Airport. Saturday morning, the crew told KOAM they were on their way to St. Louis for a short time and will continue to Ohio, where this blimp will be partially dismantled and rebuilt. Now, don't worry, there are 3 blimps in North America. And next Sunday, May 25th at the Indianapolis 500, there will be a different Goodyear blimp. This is the 100th year since the first Goodyear blimp Pilgrim took flight as a promotional tool for the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Let's look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The House GOP budget plan advances aiming to extend President Trump's tax cuts. Plus, New Jersey Transit reaches a tentative deal with the Engineers Union. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from Library Park in Neodesha, Kansas. In Consumer Watch this morning, the House GOP's budget package is one step closer to getting a full vote ahead of the party's self-imposed Memorial Day deadline. The bill advanced out of the Budget Committee late last night in a narrow 17-16 vote after 4 conservative holdouts voted present. The bill pushes President Trump's agenda of making his 2017 tax cuts permanent. partially offset by cuts to domestic programs like Medicaid, food stamps, and clean energy subsidies. Some conservatives argue the bill doesn't do enough to cut spending. House Speaker Mike Johnson says he hopes to bring the bill to the floor for a final vote by Thursday. New Jersey Transit and the Train Engineers Union have reached a tentative deal to end their 3-day strike. Now, more details on the agreement are expected to be released soon, though union leaders say New Jersey Transit did boost wages enough to help with recruitment and retention. The strike had disrupted service for around 100,000 daily riders Friday morning. The union says regular service will resume on Tuesday. And Final Destination Bloodlines had a killer weekend, topping the domestic box office with an estimated $51 million. Marvel's Thunderbolts dropped to the second spot with more than $16 million. Sinners rounded out the top 3 with over $15 million. That's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, just a quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Skies have cleared out a bit, just a few clouds, so mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. And that is helping bring in more energy for thunderstorms as we roll into the afternoon. We do have a potentially significant severe threat today. We'll go over those details with you in the full forecast when we come back. All right, time for some Monday birthdays in the 4 states, starting with Emerson Pryor in Chanute, celebrating birthday number 2. Happy birthday.
And in Fairview, a happy 4th birthday to Valerie Haddock. It says love Poppy Dusty and Gigi Joe.
And in Girard, Briggs Beasley celebrating birthday number 11 today. Happy birthday, Briggs.
And in Frontenac, a happy 19th birthday to Brianna Bunn.
And we also have Chris Dooley celebrating birthday number 36 over in Carl Junction. Happy birthday.
And a happy 24th anniversary to Vernon and Becky Ross over in Riverton. It says happy anniversary to 2 the most amazing people in the world. Love you both beyond words, Mom and Jim.
And in Columbus, Kathy Swathwood celebrating another year wiser today. Happy birthday.
And Sherry Nice in Miami, Oklahoma, also celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday.
And Rita Taylor over in Chanute celebrating a birthday as well. Happy birthday, Rita.
Back over in Riverton, happy birthday to Braylon Kidd. It says we love you, Nana and Papa.
And in Columbus, JD and Leslie Minor, this is a husband and wife that share the same birthday. So talk about a special day. A very happy birthday to JD and Leslie.
And Kim Willie here at KOAM is celebrating a birthday today. Kim is one of our marketing consultants.
And we've got Abby Durbin continuing our list with a birthday today. Happy birthday, Abby.
And in Moundville, a happy birthday to Tony Person.
All right, another great list of birthdays and anniversaries. And of course, if you'd like to celebrate with us, Elise has some information for you.
Yes, please submit your birthdays and anniversaries to birthdays@KOAMnewsnow.com. Be sure to include those wonderful photos and messages to meet the deadline at the bottom of your screen, and to also please include the date of your celebration as well.
Very important to include all that information. We've got very important information for you coming in from the Weather Department. This is our severe weather risk as we stand right now. Now, again, this is updated at 1 a.m., which is why it looks a bit different than what it did yesterday, because for a couple of days, the risk was a 3 out of 5 across a very wide area. But now that we're here at the day of the event, it's been narrowed down, and unfortunately for some of us, that risk has been increased a bit. So that's why this map looks a little different. Now, again, it's also due for an update at approximately 8 a.m., but there's any number of factors that could influence whether it's right on time or not. Maybe a little early, maybe a little late. But so far, here's where we've got. We're at up to a level 4 out of 5 risk for tornadoes and for hail, mainly into the southern half of our area. Now, this 4 out of 5 risk stretches through most of eastern Oklahoma as well. So we're basically on the northeastern corner of it. And then we are all under a 3 out of 5 risk for damaging wind gusts. Now, the other concern we have is these hatch marks for the tornado and hail categories. They're over the entire region for both of those categories. So here's what that means. It means significant. In fact, on our little legend down here, it's exactly what that says. And of course, significant varies from category to category. For hail, we're talking the possibility of tennis ball size hail with these storms. On the tornado risk, the significant indicates the possibility of a strong tornado that would be EF2 or greater in strength. Now, some things to know about these outlooks and what we're looking at. First off, you're going to see a lot of this stuff showing up on the internet and people giving either horrifying explanations of the fact that the world is about to end, or folks who don't know what it is and trying to explain it to you. So don't look at some of that. I've seen some of that, okay? The hatch marks, as I mentioned, are for significant. What this indicates is the storms that we see this afternoon will be in an environment that will support them producing these risks, these threats. So they'll be in an environment supportive of tennis ball size hail and, unfortunately, the potential for strong tornadoes. That is not a guarantee that that is exactly what these storms will do. This is saying that they will be set up that they could intensify to this strength. Now, the risk is higher in the level 4 out of 5 zone than it is in the 3 out of 5, but it's still something that we've got to watch across the entire region. So the level 4 out of 5, for those maybe making coffee, getting the kids ready, that includes the southern half of our counties in the far southern fringes of southeast Kansas, all of northeast Oklahoma in our area, Benton County, Newton, McDonald County, parts of Berry County, and the southern half of Jasper County, which does include the city of Joplin. Again, this isn't saying it's going to be right here at this time. It means we need to watch this very closely. The level 3 out of 5 wind risk, however, is across the region. At this point, I guess some good news, the significant category hasn't been added to this, but we are still looking at the possibility of 70 to 80 mile an hour winds with these storms. These storms are going to be in an environment that is very favorable for them to develop rapidly and intensify rapidly, which means where they develop, you may not get as much lead time as those to the east, because as they get going, it's going to be very obvious where they are, where they're headed, and what their severity level is. But we've got to watch across the region. Now, there's another if, and I've got to talk about it very briefly as well. See, showers and storms, say Chanute, Parsons, Coffeyville, points west. This is mid-morning, about 10 a.m. This is an if. The model data has been inconsistent about this. We could possibly see isolated showers and storms by about 9, 10 o'clock this morning, mainly in the southeast Kansas. If we do, they could intensify and potentially become strong to severe. Now, if we see several of them, that would help us later today by eating up some of the energy in our atmosphere and lowering the severe threat. Not eliminating it, but lowering it. However, model data is inconsistent, and a lot of it says that even if we do see them, they will be limited in coverage, which means they won't really be able to eat up all of that excess energy, which won't help us later today. But we want to watch that. By about 2 o'clock or so, supercells begin developing pretty rapidly across parts of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma. So again, schools letting out. Schools, you need to pay very close attention to the weather by this afternoon. Parents, you do as well. These storms push off to the east. Now we've got this mess of severe thunderstorms across the eastern, roughly 2/3 of our area here. Then we get another round of severe thunderstorms rolling through by late evening that could congeal into a line. And if that happens, then that line, the wind risk becomes greater as it rolls through, but all hazards will still be possible. There's a little break and then additional development around 2 o'clock tomorrow morning, and between about 2 and 7 a.m., another round of strong, potentially severe thunderstorms will push through before we'll finally start to clear out by tomorrow afternoon. So a lot to keep an eye on over the next 24 hours. We'll have another look at your forecast, news you need to know in just a moment, and we switch over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., or you hang out with us here on KOAM Plus. Tell you about a popular musician that's using his influence to help spread awareness of the lifelong autoimmune disease of type 1 diabetes.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Charges are brought against McDonald County teacher Joelle Stark of Anderson, Missouri for inappropriate relations with a student. Stark allegedly had an ongoing sexual relationship with a past student from 2016 to 2018. The prosecutor filed second-degree statutory rape charges against Stark on Friday, and later a warrant for her arrest was issued. Stark turned herself in on Saturday. She has since bonded out. A man is dead after a single vehicle crash in Newton County. The Jeep Cherokee was traveling eastbound on US 60 and left the road to the right. The SUV overturned numerous times, ejecting the driver, and rolled over a parked car, then landed on top of an above-ground pool. The driver, 28-year-old male from Diamond, Missouri, was pronounced deceased on the scene. Well, cities in northwest Arkansas were hit with a major hailstorm. This video from Tonytown, Arkansas shows how intense the hail fell from the sky. Reports came in of hail damage to cars and electric poles, causing thousands of residents to lose power. One report shows a pile of hail that was measured at 17 inches. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And remember, we have our alert day in place today. Strong to severe thunderstorms increasing as we roll through the afternoon, evening, and overnight with all hazards possible. So make sure you stay weather aware. Highs about 80, non-thunderstorm winds out of the south gusting to 30. Strong severe thunderstorms roll through, continuing through the evening. We get a brief break. They return about 2 a.m., but they'll be a little more scattered at that point. Back into the low 60s tonight. Those storms tomorrow morning should wrap up by about 6 or 7 a.m. We'll start to clear out by Tuesday afternoon. A little cooler through Thursday. Warm weather returns this weekend with more storm chances Sunday and Monday as well.
Right. And coming up today at noon, we're making barbecue spatchcock chicken in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
As your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe visits St. Louis as a tornado leaves behind a trail of devastation.
Plus, Dr. Williams Jones from Mercy Pittsburgh joins us in the studio to share a few tips on how to keep your kids healthy this summer. It's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll, of course, be back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.